Innovative content. Global audience.
A very warm welcome to you viewers from the world's capital city, London. My name is Princess Kessy, and this is Wake Up Nigeria. Yes, I'm here to wake you up this morning. Yes, Nigerians, we need to wake up. Not wake up in the recess of sleeping and waking, but wake up from our slumber, because a lot of things are actually going wrong, and that is why we need to wake up and be up and doing. Good morning once again to you. Yes, it's another Tuesday morning. We have quite a lot on the news this morning. So much, if you ask me. We're talking about labor. How many times I don't know what to do with labor. I don't want to say anything, but anyways, maybe it's for the good of the common man. So the much agitated nationwide strike, we're going on strike, we're shutting down, we refuse to, we're not taking anything, we're just going down right now, shut down to pass a message. And I had coming two guests yesterday, and they said the same thing. The labor cannot be trusted. Just after that meeting, something might happen. And of course, we've seen today all over the national dailies that the strike has been suspended. And of course, another major issue is that we talk about our dear president's academic records in US, and it's a relief because the documents have been released, and of course there is a certification that indeed he graduated from that school. And you see now, so I think everybody can be at peace. Good morning once again. This morning I have with me on the reviews, yes, a very young, able Nigerian youth to review the papers with me this morning. I have with me on the studio right now, Mr. Sani. How are you, Sani Mohammed?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm fine. It's good morning to everyone. It's been raining since morning, so it's a good way to start anyway. Yeah.
Oh, even here in London last night, I actually saw a rain I've not seen before. It was so much. That's the first time I've seen so much rain here. Anyway, welcome, Mr. Sani. We have quite a lot on the news this morning. So much, and while some people are disappointed, others are saying that it might just be for the good of all. And so we'll quickly move on to the first newspaper we have, and that will be the Daily Trust. Now, these are some of the news we have coming from the Daily Trust this morning. The main headline here says, Labour suspends planned strike for 30 days. And that story is on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. There's another story here that says gunshots at IPOB on Lashi's terror in Simon Ekpa's hometown. And that story is on page 7 of the Daily Trust newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says Tinubu, Buhari, others mourn Emeritus Prof. Umar Shehu. And that story is on page 3 of the Daily Trust newspaper. There's a story here as well that says non-interest banking. Taj Bank leads in tier 1 capital, post 6 billion naira profits. Now that story is on page 19 of the Daily Trust newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says Atiku mom as Chicago University releases Tinubu's records on certificates. Now that story is on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says many feared dead in river oil explosion. That story is on page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says Desiani appears in UK court as EFCC begins extradition process. That story is on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And the last story here says ISWAP kills 2, adopts 2 monarchs, others in Borno. That story is on page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Now, these are all the stories, Mr. Sani, we have coming from the Daily Trust. But let me ask you, what do you think? We'll get to the labor issue where I have more maybe riders on that labor issue, because that is the major news for today. But another major news here is that we see that Atiku is now mom. He's now quiet because Chicago University releases Tinubu's certificate, the record, and authenticates the certificate. And now, there's been so much attention on the air, so much insinuation. Now, what's your take on that? Let's start from there.
Yeah, actually, today this news is actually the most interesting for Labour. I think we've already predicted that the strike won't really go on.
But I'm
But
still
for
going to
this,
ask you that later. Yes.
oh, okay. Let me just speak about the certificate. I think it was just more like a decoy. He just diverted the attention of the other aspirants to from major issues to the certificate issues when he actually knows that there's nothing there. So they've been pursuing it for a very long time, thinking there's actually something there, but finally, boom, it's out, and the certificate has cleaned, vindicated the president. So I think it's a good one. It's a good one. Now, Atiku and the other ones can just put an end to the certificate issue.
Saga, and then we
Uh,
can move on
yeah,
peacefully to maybe other important
yeah,
issues, if there is
yes.
any.
Let's look at other important issues. Because for me, even if it comes to be the other way around, I don't know. The court has concluded the judgment, so I don't know where this one is coming up from. But at least the result is out, so everybody can just rest and look at other important issues.
Funny enough,
That's
quite a lot were said about these certificate issues. A lot of insinuation, a lot of suggestion, a lot of issues
mm,
inside here and there. But it's
yeah.
sometimes it's good. When the president said was restraining the Chicago University from releasing the document, so people actually thought, if you said you are from that school, why are you restraining them from publishing or releasing the document? Is this something you're hiding? And then a court, I think we had to go through the court, and now the court even gave order by today. The deadline was supposed to be today at 12 p.m. And now we saw that that result apparently is genuine. So now I believe there will be fresh air in
Yes,
Nigeria.
yeah, like I said it from the start, that it was actually more like a decoy. It just diverted their attention to other things, thinking there's something, because he actually didn't allow the result to be published at start. So everybody was like thinking, oh, there's something to it, there's something to it. Even me, I actually thought there was something to it, but the result is finally out, so everybody can just put an end to that and move on.
Oh, it's quite interesting, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
Very
Yes, that's what you see
interesting.
in the. Yeah. Very interesting.
And Mr. Sani, I know as a banker or ex-banker. Now let's talk about non-interest banking. Touch Bank leads in Tier 1 capital post 6
Mm,
billion naira profit. What does this mean?
mm. Hello?
Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
I lost you. I lost you some minutes there. Some seconds. Can you go back?
Okay, I said as a banker, somebody that has so much experience in that industrial sector. Now,
Mm,
there is a news here
mm,
that says non-interest banking. Touch Bank leads in Tier 1 capital post 6 billion naira profits.
mm.
What does that mean?
Yeah, it's actually interesting seeing, before now, it always, when you talk about non-interest banking, that's always been Jai's Bank, which is leading, fronting on the non-interest banking. But it's actually interesting to see that there's so much to earn from that. And Touch Bank is actually taking advantage of that and is actually doing well for its business, because the way loans are issued in non-interest banks, it's actually interesting. I see so many people moving towards that, and it's interesting to see there's so much from that. So looking at more from that particular aspect, maybe more banks will key into the non-interest banking sector.
Wow. All right, we move quickly to the other newspaper we have this morning, and that would be the Daily Sun. Now, these are some of the stories we have coming from the Daily Sun this morning. There's a story here. The main headline says strike. FG reaches truce with NLC, TUC. Strike suspended for 30 days. Government urged to prevail on state to implement salary award. Now, all these stories on page 8 of the Daily Sun newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says FG begins Desiani's extradition. Ex-minister arraigned in UK court slams 70,000 $70,000 bill. And then we have a story here that says economy, Buhari's ex-spokesman counters Tinubu's wife on page 6 of the Daily Sun newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says tribunal sacks Nasarawa governor, declares PDP Ngbagdu winner, dismisses LP's petition against Fubara's election, Enugu LP lawmaker wins. All these stories on page 26 and 9 of the Daily Trust newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says terrorism, 22 Katsina local governments not safe, Governor Rada tells IGP. And that story is on page 4 of the Daily Sun newspaper. As well, we'll have another story here that says fire kills 20 persons at bunkering sites in Rivers. That story is on page 5 of the Daily Sun newspaper. As well, we'll have another story here that says 3 commuter buses, 4 motorcycles, others burnt in attack by armed men in Ebonyi. And that story is on page 4 of the Daily Sun newspaper. How I would have handled subsidy removal, palliatives distribution. This is coming from Obi, and that story is on page 21 and 6 of the Daily Sun newspaper. These are all the stories we have this morning. And you can see that we have quite a lot here, Mr. Sani. But let's talk about the strike. You know, I have been reading that news for days, and funny enough, all my guests before now, they have the same opinion. They are not even happy with the labor. Like I had a barrister yesterday that we no longer have labor. They go there for their interest. I quote the lawyer. And then he said that because we know that one meeting or the other, they will shove the strike. You can't be saying you're threatening, since subsidy removal, I'm going on strike, I'm shutting down. Sometimes you have to just do it so that you pass the message. And then before we start negotiation again during the strike, that it would have been better. Now, what's your take on this? The strike has been suspended for another 30 days.
I think we need to look at a different approach to this. It has always been the same approach. That's why everybody can just say we can predict what will happen. For me, I've already predicted that they will usually have their long night meetings and say, oh, Labour and federal government is negotiating, is renegotiating, talk about terms, and before morning you hear, boom, strike has been suspended. So that's been the usual thing. For me, I think a different approach to this will be better. Because most times when you follow the same approach, people still come back and say, yeah, the NLC has been compromised. They went for their own personal interest rather than the interest of Nigerians and the workers at large. But for me, I'm not a party to actually going on strike, because strike a lot times have a lot to do with the economy. You suspend the economy for a while, the country loses a huge amount of money. So I think a better way to look at this, it's better than, rather than just going the traditional way of going to say, oh no, we are threatening, we're going on strike. Then you now have a long night meeting and you now come around and now say the strike has been suspended. I think other ways should be deployed rather than this. Though on the street, so many people are like, oh, let's just go into the strike while they continue the negotiations. But to a particular aspect, I think there's about, is it 15 points or so that they've accepted? I think they did an MOU to accept some facts on it. But when you look at this, they said, looking at the 35,000 naira for, is it for federal civil servants or it's going to be at large?
Government workers. We are
Federal
not
government
even,
workers. So if you look at the population,
nobody is talking about the private sector. This is the fear, and it's worrisome, Sunny.
yes, that's the disturbing part. Nobody is talking about the private sector. No, it's just about the federal civil servants. If you look at it, what's the population of the federal civil servants to the total population in Nigeria? The private sector takes more of the population, and this is where there's really a lot happening. I think issues should be channeled to that aspect as well, not just the federal civil servants. We also have the state civil servants, and I don't know how they are even going to deploy this because
Yeah,
going
but
about.
don't forget that there's one on the right that says government urged to prevail on states to implement salary award. So I think the states are inclusive, but we are more worried about. We don't know how quick they are going to implement these wages, the new wages, and of course the private sector who is going to speak for them, and because you are not settling some people while others, the majority, are still there, still struggling with the same pain and struggle.
Yes, that's my worry. And even if you are including the state government, I know that the minimum wage is 30,000 naira, and I know that there are some states that up to now have not been able to implement that 30,000 naira minimum wage. Now you are coming up with the 35,000 naira that should be added to what state government should pay, and this is an amount that so many state governors have not been able to adhere to the 35,000 and 30,000 minimum wage. So I don't know
They,
how this would be,
they are going
and
to
I don't know how sustainable it's going to be because it's going to be for the next 6 months. So what happens after the 6 months? Are we
you
still going
go
to
back.
go on to start?
Yes,
Yeah,
you
go back.
go
And
back.
you see,
It's just like somebody moving
even the
forward in life and then you're going back again. I don't know how that is going to be, but
yeah, that's why I'm saying the approach is actually not the kind of approach we were expecting, and the suspension is for 30 days. So after 30 days, we still go back to begin to do this. I don't know. They will keep negotiating before the 30 days. So I just pray something good comes up. But in their thinking, they should think about the private sector. The private sector takes a huge population of Nigerians, and people are actually really suffering. People cannot before we used to say 3 square meals, then we moved down to 2 square meals, but now
and
so many people
one
cannot even
square meal.
afford the 1 square meal. 1 square meal. We're talking about issues of insecurity. So many people can even largely Nigerians are farmers. In some looking at the northern states, there's insecurity in that part. So many people can't even go to the farm. So I don't know. They should still look at this because so many people are not finding it funny. It's really hard on the streets, really hard on Nigerians.
Well, there's another story here that also says economy. Buhari's ex-spokesman counters Tinubu's wife. Recall that yesterday the president did say her husband will work, but Nigerians should know that her husband is not a magician. And that is why Tinubu's, Buhari's ex-spokesman is countering that statement. A lot of people did yesterday, of course, counter that statement as well, saying that she should not be insensitive to the plights of Nigerians.
Yeah, I that statement I read it, and she said her husband is not a magician. He made a lot of things that went wrong. I think that's the normal slogan. Every government comes to power. When Buhari's government came to power, they blamed the PDP for a long period of time of having issues not being resolved. That they are not magicians, it cannot. But I think during their campaign, most of their campaign promises, they made a lot of promises, not looking at the fact that okay, this is not being objective to say these are the periods that things can be resolved. That's why a lot of times I tell Nigerians when politicians come campaigning and they make some promises, you need to look at those promises and actually look at it feasible. And now look at when somebody comes to you and tell you that, oh, I'm going to fix the power issue in Nigeria within 6 months. As a sensible person, you look at this and this is not feasible, because if you say you're going to, this person needs to come up and tell you, okay, we are going to build so power plants, we are going to do hydro, we are going to do solar, this is this. And if you look at it, if you want to even do a plan, this thing takes years. Sometimes it takes 3 to 4 years. That's almost the lifetime
Tenor.
of a particular, yes, a tenure of a particular government. You understand? So if somebody comes to tell you that, okay, I'm going to fix power in 6 months, and is not telling you these are the routes that I'm going to take, these are the models, these are the modalities I'm going to use, you definitely know that this person is not actually prepared for this. The person does not have a blueprint. What they are just concerned about is just getting to that office and get that tag, get that title. Oh, Mr. President, oh, Mr. Governor, and you don't have anything on ground, any blueprint that you want to achieve. I think this basically that's just it. I think it would be more pleasing for us to hear issues like, oh, I understand you are going through a lot, but these are the measures that we put on ground that we're going to achieve this. I know so many things have gone wrong in a number of years, but we're doing our best. We are not sleeping. We're doing all to ensure some sort of promise, some sort of good words that will make people smile. Not coming to say, yeah, I'm not a magician, and we know you're not a magician. But when you came to us promising that you do this, at least some good words will make Nigerians smile. So for me, I think some good words, some words of encouragement, some like you focus on what you intend to achieve within a time frame would be better. Yeah.
That is very correct. And then we saw there's also a news here that says how I would have handled subsidy removal, palliative distribution. Now this is coming from Obi, like what you just explained, Sani. Sometimes if we are not there
Yeah.
as well, you feel like it will be very easy. Maybe when you now enter there, you see that it's not as easy. But people have their
Yeah.
different approach to how they
Yes.
handle or
Yes.
they do things. And let's just, I don't know, the president did say that we should be patient. And of course, even Peter Obi did say yesterday as well during the independent speech that we should, his own speech, that we should be patient, that the Nigerians should be hopeful. So maybe we should be hopeful. And then we'll move quickly to the next newspaper we have, and that would be the First News. These are some of the stories we have coming from the First News. We have the main headline here says Labour suspends nationwide indefinite strike for 30 days. And the rider says to allow FG to implement promises. All the stories are on the front page of the first newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says extortion. Police probe officer over 80 million naira allegedly shared with IGP CP. And there is another story here that says tribunal sacks Nasarawa governor Afem Fubara Finitris elections in Rivers, Adamawa. Finitris elections in Rivers and Adamawa. And then we'll have another story here that says Army destroys IPOP camps. Shrine recovers corpses as Air Force bombs terrorist camp in Borno. Now, this story is on the front page of the first newspaper. There's another story here that says Chicago University confirms Tinubu's graduated from school in 1979. Authenticates certificate. That story is on the front page of the first newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says Nigerians almost destroyed my career for slapping policeman Sheu Kuti. And we have another story here that says pregnant woman, son of owner, about to wed lady died in Rivers Legal Refinery Inferno. Pregnant woman, son of owner, about to wed lady died in Rivers Illegal Refinery Inferno. That is quite sad. And there's a story here as well that says family of four electrocuted in Taraba. And that story is on the front page of the first newspaper. There's a story here as well that says Egypt's ISIS announcing third term bid. All these stories are on the front page of the first newspaper this morning. Now, we have quite a lot coming from the first news as well this morning. Sunny, there's a story here. Let's even talk about Desiani. Desiani, she's all over the news this morning. She's all over the paper this morning. Quite a lot about her. And then there's a story here that says the Ziani arraigned in UK courts as CFCC begins extradition process, obtain arrest warrants. Uh, Court grants her 70,000 pound bail in bribery case. Says she is flight risk.
Hmm.
Now, what do you make of this? Let's talk about
Well,
this.
this Denzel issue has been on for a long time now. I
I don't
think
know for how long, but so long.
for so long, I don't know how. I think it's been right from former president's time, President Goodluck Jonathan, down to Buhari, and now we're in another government, the Tinubu's government. I don't know if EFCC is actually winning this case because it's taking too long. They said justice delayed is actually justice denied. So I don't know how EFCC is going to come up with this. There has been so many issues. There have been times they say she's not feeling well, she cannot appear in the courts. There's this. So I don't know, but it should just come to an end with this and let's move on.
Once and for all.
Honestly, yeah, once and for all.
And there is a major news this morning as well that the tribunal has quite been busy for some time now, and then they will see that
Mm.
a lot of elections upheld and others trash as well, others replaced. But what do you make of the Nasarawa State Governor Suleiman?
Yeah, the judgment was given yesterday, even though there was mixed feelings from different parties.
How
Well,
are
I'll say
people reacting
congratulations.
to that news or to that judgment, Sani?
Hello, you said?
How are people in that state reacting to that judgment?
Yeah, there is a bit of a mixed feeling. Definitely there's side to the APC, there's side to the PDP. Well, in the state capital is cool. Like people are not happy with the judgment, but from some other places where the PDP candidate comes from, there's been some sort of celebration, jubilation for the outcome. And the governor came out yesterday to say, yeah, this is they are appealing, so he's going to appeal. So it's still going to be a long ride. There's still going to be the Court of Appeal. We wait for the Court of Appeal judgment. Then from there, I know whoever gets the verdict there, then they will still move to the Supreme Court. So we'll still hold on till the end, which is the Supreme Court. So there's going to be a long period of litigation. There's going to
So
be
does
a
that mean,
judicial period
Stanley, that
for a
he's
long
supposed to
period.
stay back at the office, still running the state until proven by the appeal Supreme Court otherwise?
Yes, yes. That's what the law says. She's still the governor of Nasarawa State until the kids have been from court. Since he's appealing, had it been he's not appealing, then we'll now look at the 29 days in office where he vacates the state. But for now, there's still going to be a court of appeal judgment. On the court of appeal judgment, whatever it is, any candidate that comes from that place and say, "Oh no, I'm taking it to the Supreme Court." Supreme Court is the apex, so we'll wait and see what happens at the apex bank, at the apex court. I'm using banking terms here. I'm used to
Because
the
everything
banking
about
terms.
you is
So I'm saying
banking,
the apex bank.
finances, money.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
understand.
yeah. I'm saying the apex bank instead of the apex court, so which is the Supreme Court. So we'll wait for the judgment from the appeal court, then the judgment from the Supreme Court. I just appeal for people to remain calm and go about their businesses while we are with those proceedings.
Well, that is well said. And then before we just move on to the next part, I want you to take one headline here that says Army destroys IPOP camps, Shrine recovers corpses as Air Force bombs terrorist camps in Borno. And don't forget also that we'll be seeing a lot of insecurity issues here and there. We even had earlier where a lot of people were kidnapped as well. In Borno as well. These are some of the issues now. So, what's your take on that headline?
Honestly, the issue of security is paramount in this country. So many people are not really finding it funny. There are so many insecurity issues all over the country. It's not just the north, it's not just the east. but there's so many security issues. I want to talk about the those kidnapped. There are so many kidnap issues that we have lost count of it. It has been the Chibok girls, that one, nothing has come from it. So many other school girls that were kidnapped, nothing has come out of it. Now, another kidnap in Maiduguri, will now begin to see videos of how the kidnapped victims are being treated. Honestly, it's really sad. Yeah,
Yes, because
and for
the headline here says ISWAP kills two, adopt two monarchs, others in Boronu. That's one of the headlines this morning. And there we saw that again, ISWAP killing, destroying camps here and there, and also the Air Force, the bomb terrorist camp in Boronu as well. What do you think we can do? Because insecurity, it's becoming, it's not even just, the other day I read in news on Monday, right? Now, there's
mm,
a particular community in Niger State where the terrorists came and sacked every member of that. In fact, the villagers had to run for their life. And now, a community in Niger State, and now they built their camp there, the terrorists. Of course, you wouldn't want to go back to that community if you're from there, knowing fully well that they have not taken hold of that community. So, what can be done, Sunny? Because we keep saying, keep talking, but it's as if it's on the increase on daily basis.
I think for one, Niger State is a major issue. I don't know, the governor in that state should see how with the federal government to do a lot. You know, Niger State, if you've been to Niger State before, Niger State is really, really big.
It's very
The
big,
land, yes, the landmass in
massive
Niger
lands
State.
here and there.
Yeah, there's this axis between Zingeru and Tegina. I've been to that route a lot, and there's this lonely road that connects to either Kaduna going to Lagos. That's the Birnin Gwari. That's the major area. That space is a huge land mass with just forests and no activity in that particular part. So these terrorists take advantage of such places that there's a huge forest, and they now come and own that place, dominate that place, yeah, chase out all the communities in that place and set out camp in that place. So I think the military should deploy more sophisticated IT technology in curbing this particular issue, this insecurity. Going out the normal route before won't really work. We need to go on sophisticated technology to check out those places, because that size is huge. I don't know where Niger State just have so much land mass, and you know the terrorists are looking at it from the fact that Niger State has part of its region embedded to the FCT. So the more they get closer to Niger State, the more they feel like they are getting closer to the FCT. So
City.
I think yeah, there's a lot that needs to be done in that part, and majority of the populace there are actually farmers. Yeah, actually, I've been to that route a lot. You can see the roads, the roads leading to that place. There's no government attention at all. People
Yes,
are just living their lives.
I saw. I once there's
Mm,
this guy I know, my IT guy.
mm,
He
mm.
actually schooled his I think Bida Poly, and then he
Yeah.
told me when he came from school that, Auntie, I'm so worried. I asked why. That is worrisome that from Bida to Mina there is no one
Mm.
checkpoint, and then it's
Yeah.
such a long drive over like 3 hours. I don't know, but and the roads are not too good. You have vast
Mm,
land, forest or
mm,
bushes here and there,
mm.
not one single checkpoint. So it's quite
I think
worrisome.
I drove on that road. I think October last year, which is about a year now. I drove on that road. I think from there's just one major military camp at before you get to Tegina, but after Tegina down to Zingeru, there's no much military checkpoint. I know there's a divisional headquarters in at the beginning of Tegina when Zingeru when you're leaving Tegina. So approaching Zingeru, you just find, I think I just saw a checkpoint with just a few policemen, And the way they were situation, the way they were stationed is was they had their bikes beside them, so it was more like if they hear anything, any alarm, they would just run off on their bike. So there's practically no security apparatus in that particular place, and the roads are really bad. So those bandits take advantage of that particular even the roads, the dilapidated roads. Motorists have to come very slow, so they can just stop them at every point. And I heard that the bandits, there's a particular time they cross the road from this side to the other side with they do a lot of cattle rustling. So when they
Yes.
go, they proceed from the cattle rustling. They move at the morning, in the evening, and return in the morning. So these are informations that the military should really look at and do something about that
We're
part.
calling on the Nigerian government to do so with a matter of urgency, because there is no day we sit here on the news and we don't hear one
Talking about our food security, Niger State contributes a lot to
in laws.
agriculture in Niger State, in Nigeria. So I please, the federal government should do something about this.
Anyway, we'll move on quickly to the next newspaper we have, and that will be the Guardian newspaper. Now, these are some of the stories we have coming from the Guardian newspaper this morning. The major headline here says Labour accept FG's proposals, suspend strike for 30 days. The story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says food fair prices spike, put more Nigerians under pressure. That story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. We also have a story here that says cooking gas scarcity looms as price hits 1,000 naira per kg. And that story is on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. There's a story here that says HND, much ado about conversion, 650,000 top up program. And that story is on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. We also have a story here that says Tribunal sacks Sule, declares Nwangodo winner of Nasarawa pool. That story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. We also have a story here that says EFCC obtain arrest warrant on Desiani begins extradition plan, and that story is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. These are all the stories we have coming from the Guardian newspaper this morning. And what's your take? Let's start from we have two. I actually saw two headline here that actually get me so worried. This food fair prices spike puts more Nigerians under pressure. We already saw that, and I think Nigerians were actually having hope when they saw Labour agitating. But now that the strike has been suspended, especially the private sector, I don't know how they will be feeling as of today, because we can see that it will be difficult for them as well to cope up. And then there's a news here that says cooking gas scarcity looms as price hits 1,000 naira per kilo. So, for instance, you're buying the very small 5 kg, you have to spend 5,000 naira for that.
Hmm. It's actually difficult time for Nigerians. When Labour is talking about the public sector not giving consideration to the private sector, this is what happens, and mostly there's no price check mechanism in Nigeria. People just put up prices the way they want. There's no mechanism to check prices. It's disturbing. When you increase salaries, you need to check out inflation, you need to check out other things, you need to set up a price mechanism that would actually check the prices of goods and services. Now, looking at the prices of gas, I bought gas. I think 4 days back. I bought it 850. Now it has gotten up to 1,000 naira. So if you need to fill up your 12.5 kg, which is the usual standard size, that would be like almost 13,000. That's really high. So if let's say for instance, you earn 30,000 there on the minimum wage. Imagine you just buy gas and there's nothing for you to cook. You just buy gas. What will you do with the other aspects? This is really disturbing. There are other things. This is really disturbing. And I heard projections that the gas might still go up. People are projecting to go up to like 18,000 there. Normally when the year comes to the ember months, when it comes to an end, there's always a price increase in all of this, mostly gas. Then you begin to go to food items. So I don't know what the federal government is going to do about this, because even that's why some people are like, oh, it's not just about the salary increase. When you increase salaries and you don't checkmate the prices of items in the market, it's just like not doing anything at all. Because the moment you begin, the normal business people, the more things begin to change, theirs is just increase the prices. That's the normal routine for a business person. It is the consumer that takes up the heat. So if you increase salaries and there's no price mechanism check for goods and services, it's more like just not doing anything at all. Because the more you receive salary, the more you go to the market and the prices of goods and services have increased. Sometimes the prices of goods and services increase be more than what the normal increase had been done on salaries. So you see that you're even spending more than what you were earning like before the salary increase. So there's need to look at it all around holistically and look at the private sector, look at the public sector, and make a fair deal for everybody to enjoy. And you see, with these prices, you see there's going to be an increase in crime. Already people are complaining. There's crime everywhere. When people cannot get what they need, people resort to the streets. There's high increase of crime rate. So this thing goes a long way to affect almost every sector. The insecurity, it's up, it's really high. People are not finding it easy. The federal government should really
Sir,
look at this
I called my mom
and
and
do
she said,
something that
yes. My mom did say she was going to go outside to look for her to bathe with hot water to make hot water because there was no light for the heater to work, and she cannot use her gas to start boiling water. That the gas is expensive. So it didn't even occur to me that it's that expensive until now. Anyway, it's really sad. Like you said, Nigerians at this time, this is the hardest time for Nigerians, and it's now kind of unfair when the first lady says the husband is not a magician. The husband will work, but they should give him a British space. And it's unfair as well when you see your lawmakers earning so much, eating so much, and then the common man has nothing to show for it. We'll move on quickly.
I
Go ahead. Go ahead, Sunny. You wanted to say something.
oh no, I wanted to say it's really not fair as you rightly put it. The government should do something about this hardship. People are going through a lot. I wouldn't want it to get to that position
And
that people
this
will
is
take up
why,
the
okay,
stone.
and this is why there's a major news this morning. I wanted to, I would have asked you to still say some your
Okay,
opinion
maybe you
on
can
that.
just go ahead with that. Maybe we'll add it up with this. What I want to say.
Yes, on the when they say there's a major news here, we'll be seeing that 35 persons burnt to death at River illegal oil refinery site. And then you saw also in Warri on the Independence Day where Warri Saple Benin Express Road where a tanker actually fell and there was the PMS was actually spilling out. So everybody went and was grouping. You get just to get amount of where they can use either for their generator, for their bike or their vehicles, which actually led to explosion that actually killed people as well just barely days ago. And then was seeing this as well, where a lot of people just want to go and get it the easy way because your government seems not to be doing so much. And I think this is one of the major reason why people tend to go and do, let me get it like this since I won't get it easily or get it this other way.
Honestly, I sympathize with the families of those that lost their loved ones. It's sad. You see, this issue of tanker falling and people rushing to go and have their share. I think so. It has happened so many times, and you think people have learned from it. But anytime it happens, you see people going back to do the same thing. I'll just say that it's because of the hardship. People are going through a lot. People are going through a lot. If the economy is not this bad, if people are having it to a particular level, not really finding it this hard, I think people will not go to do such kind of things. It's actually sad when you see people die in this kind of manner. It's really painful. But at any time you find a tanker skidding off the road, you see people going to go and have their share. It's just because of the hardship. It's
Of
because
course,
of the
because
hardship. If not, people would.
fuel. Let's even look at the fuel subsidy removal, and then fuel is 600 or
Mm,
something naira per liter. And then people just saw that
yes.
there's a tank, there's a fuel pouring away. All they could think of that time was to go and get as little as much they can use, and that was it for them.
No, no. I don't think it's what they can even use. People are just going to get the fear of it, share of it, just to sell. Because people going to do that kind of thing, I don't think there are people that have a car to drive, or people that probably maybe a motorbike, or if you even say generators, I don't think. They just want to get their own share so that they can stand by the roadside and sell. Imagine if you have 20 liters of that oil. Imagine if you have say 20 liters of that oil, that would give you about let's say 13,000 naira or so. So you see 13, or is it almost 15,000 naira? So imagine what somebody that does not have anything goes to get that fuel and stand by the roadside and sell and get 15,000. So them it's a business. It's not that something they would use. It's a business so that they can go and get what their family would eat. It's really sad.
It's really sad. And we move on quickly to the next newspaper we'll have, and that will be the Vanguard newspaper. Now, these are some of the major stories coming from Vanguard. As you can see on the screen, we have quite a lot as well. There's this, the major headline says FG Labour reach truce, nationwide strike suspended. Organized labor suspend nationwide strike, billed to start today for 1 month. Labour FG sign MOU on issues agreed on. Provisional 35,000 naira wage award for workers secured. All the stories on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says Tribunal sacks Nasarawa governor in split decision. That story is on page 13 of the Vanguard newspaper. As well, we'll have here this morning a news saying palliatives, government making on announcement with limited thinking. This is coming from Peter Obi, and that story is on page 11 of the Vanguard newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says FG draws roadmap to make Nigeria total digital economy, and that story is on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. There's a story here that says violence, impunity, greed, selfishness won't save Nigeria. And this is coming from the Anglican bishops. That story is on page 11 of the Vanguard newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says 8 killed, 5 injured in Plateau community. That story is on page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper. There's a story here as well that says Africa wounds rise by prayer fasting. That is coming from Professor Lumumba, and that story is on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. These are the stories we have coming from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And manufacturers query FG 6 months VAT waiver on diesel on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper. These are the stories we have, Asani, coming from the Vanguard. Now, let's look at a story here, a major story here. Now, this is coming from Professor Lumumba. I believe everybody in Africa knows him, and he's saying Africa will not rise by prayer and fasting. What's your take on this? Do you think we've prayed more than enough? We should not allow the government to work, or we should keep praying for our governments?
I think I agree with what he says. Africans, yeah, with the way it's good to pray. You understand? I would always tell some people like, oh, you cannot just lie on your bed and you wake up in the morning, you don't go to work and you now just pray and say, no, God will provide. For me, as a Muslim, it says, stand up and I'll help you. That's what the book says. It's not just you lie down and you pray. God said, stand up and I'll help you. So you need to do the work first. You need to put up the hard work. You need to get your hands dirty first before you now pray, and God will now answer your prayer. But it's not just about prayers only. It's not just about prayers only. I believe we should do a lot of work. We should do a lot of research. We should do what we need to do. Then crown it up with prayers. Not just prayers only. We need to do a lot of good work. When you look at other continents, when if you work with people from other continents, you see that what they do is they work first before they begin to talk about the religious side of it. So you need to stand up and work first before you pray. So that's just it. I totally agree with what he says. Africans should work, then pray. That's the right routine that should be. Not just pray
Okay,
only,
not
should
just
work,
sitting,
then
praying,
pray.
fasting, and hoping that things will just
No,
automatically
no,
turn around.
yeah. Yes, yes. You cannot just wake up and use the energy you're supposed to go and work, and you now do a 30 days fasting without doing much. It's not going to help. Or you have an exam, instead of you to go and study, you now say, no, this whole
Fasting
period of
and
studying,
praying.
I'm going to fast. Yeah, I'm going to, the night that you're supposed to burn candles and be reading, you say, no, I'm going to stay the whole night praying. That's not how it is. I think most times our religious leaders, depends on how you interpret some scriptures, but this is the right interpretation. You should stand up, walk first, then pray.
Okay, Nigerians, let's prayer is key, but there's time for everything as well. So
Yeah.
prayers and a time for working, all hand must be on deck, especially our leaders and governments, because of course you saw the country the way it was and you said, I have the solution. You came on board. So don't give
Mm,
us that
yeah.
excuse for I'm not a magician, I'm working, give me patience, give me time. Head on, hit it on. And then there's a news here, Sunny, that says federal government draws a roadmap to make Nigeria a total digital economy. Do you think that is even feasible? Can we go digital right now?
For me, once I think that's not a priority right now. But well, if it's going to happen, I don't want to think negative. So let's see how it goes. But there's a lot more. Talking about insecurity, if you say you want to make Nigerian completely digital, there are some parts that are really not even accessible. I think when that cashless policy time came, that was when my argument with a lot of my friends came to be. I told them that look, a lot of Nigerians are not financially included, a lot of Nigerians, and they thought it's a lie. So when that came, you go to park, you go to buy, you find people that will, a lot will tell you that look, I have never visited a bank, I don't have a bank account, I don't have a BVN. So it is shocking to so many. That came to me to say, look, a lot of Nigerians are not financially included. So the same thing with going to say you're going to make Nigerians and digital. I think security, it's food security. Security is the major thing, right? That's what the average man cares about right now. That's just what the average Nigerian cares about. I think let's look at the
Yes,
security first.
I agree with you
I,
as well. I feel like the government sometimes look away from things. They should have a scale of preference. Pick out the
yeah.
things that we need that are beneficial more to your citizens. We are talking about
Mm,
insecurity where people are fleeing from their ancestral lands. They don't know where they are running to. People are on the run on daily basis. And then what is important to you is one digital economy or turning Nigeria. Do you have the power to do that? Do you, like what you just said? A lot of people are not even inclusive when it comes to when we talk about banking, finances, and all that. A lot of people are in the rural areas. They come, they deal on cash business. So what are you going to do with those people? Anyway, we keep talking and we hope that the government will hear us as well. Now, I want us to take the Tribune newspaper before the sports and we'll round up, but not all the major headlines here I will take on the Tribune
mm.
newspaper this morning. Maybe we just have to do one particular one here. There's a major story from the Nigerian Tribune that says what Oshun community gets electricity after 91 years. I want you to throw your weight on that.
So this is actually it's not funny actually, but one has to laugh about it. But going about putting scale of preference to whatever you want to do, like prioritizing. Now, if you're talking about making Nigeria digital completely, you see, coming up with a community that never had light for, is it how many years? 91 years.
91 years.
What was the years again?
91
91 years.
years.
Nigeria,
91.
you see, Nigeria just turned 63, and we're still having a community for 91 years that never seen light. And we're still talking about making Nigeria digital. This is
I
this
don't
is is
understand.
disturbing. So it does not make sense. 91 years and they're having light Ocean community for the first time.
Mhm.
Come on, come
It's
on.
really sad.
This is
It is
yes,
hard.
it's really sad.
It's piercing my
Yes.
heart to know that
Uh,
somebody,
and you know,
even before I was born, how old am I? And up to now, they're just getting to see electricity in Nigeria. This is sad.
in Nigeria, 91 years. And you know, some of these things are embedded on each other. If you want to, if okay, talking about being digital, there are certain things, there are certain infrastructures that need to be in place for you to achieve another project. You get. So I think priority should be on these things. The first 91 years without have not seen light. It's it's really funny. 91 years.
And then there's a
Well,
story here coming from
congratulations to the community.
congratulations indeed to them. They should have a
Yes,
celebration, a community celebration, as
there,
we
there
have.
should be there should be a community television viewing. Free, let them put it and watch TV and just relax. After 91 years seeing electricity for the first time, I should do a party for the community.
They should. And then there's a news as well coming from Nigerian Tribune that says Lagos Ibadan cargo rail operating below capacity. Now, this is coming from NROC. These are some of the issues operating below capacity. What's your take on this? That
Okay,
news
is
is
operating
from
below
Nigerian
capacity.
Tribune. Yes.
Yeah, you see that railway track is really a major game changer. It should really operate the way it would change a lot of activity within that particular place. Talking about the congestion, talking about the movement of goods and services, they actually make the economy work. So look at what try to operate on full capacity. Look at what's there, because in the aspect of these are some of the things that I'm even looking at. Though it's going to be a long run, but in the issue of even this subsidy, looking at other alternative ways of transportation, other alternative ways of using our energy, railway is a key thing. You understand? So having spent so much and it's working under capacity, it shouldn't be. It should work on full capacity.
Well, we just hope that we know. I know that that rate is quite new, and like if you come to the developed country, like the place I'm talking to you from, you see that they operate
Mm.
more on railway, underground train here and there, and then you don't have to distract the city with so much traffic, people here and there. You can see if you go to for instance, the underground train station here, you can see the amount of
Mm.
people traveling via that system, and you know that okay, this is a system that is working. You see that a lot of people,
Yeah.
a lot of train, and
Uh,
so you can imagine if those people were to drive or were to come and be hopping from one bus to another. So these are some of the
you
issues.
see, yeah. Thankfully, you're speaking from the UK. You see how it's done there. You see, railway is the way out. It's the way out to so many issues that we have. We need to have railways We need to have railways working under full capacity in Nigeria. This will go a long way to ease out a lot of issues that we have. Talking about tankers falling off the road, people going to siphon fuel, people dying. You understand?
But
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of
And it,
insecurity, are you sure that will even work?
for the train,
Mhm.
yeah, we need to have to look at ways to work around it. I know that of Kaduna was actually working and people were really enjoying it until it came up with the aspect of the insecurity that shuts the whole thing down. Abuja to Kaduna after that incident where bandits now put the train down. It's a major setback. People were really enjoying it because the road was quite
Yes,
empty at
I
that
went,
time.
I once traveled there via train and I came back via the train as well because I went
And
for
very smooth.
a
You
colleague's
enjoy it.
wedding.
Yeah,
It was a very
you don't
smooth
even
ride.
bother about how much they charge because the satisfaction is there. You get the service, the desired services. But I learned that of the Kaduna there was they have air support that would have been able to check any issue that's arising from the rail track within 10-15 minutes of sending the alert. But before that time, they said no, they shouldn't travel at night. So that particular instance happened at night. So I think we should look at some of the setbacks, so some of the fallouts from that Kaduna Abuja railway track in the aspect of security and see what is done right and what is not done right and begin to check those aspects and make adjustment in all other aspects so that it would work. I think people are still scared of maybe the security challenges of what has happened in Kaduna, and people are scared of actually using the railway. But the moment they put those things in check, people will begin to develop that courage and see the need to use it because it's the way forward. It's the way forward for our economy, actually. Because looking at talking about Abuja, imagine now you have a rail track from let's say Kefi from Nasarawa State coming to the shores of Abuja. That would take away the traffic congestions
Traffic.
totally
Yes,
in
terrible
Maraba,
traffic.
Masaka. Yeah, and having another one probably from let's say from the town going down to Zuba, going back to Day Day. So people can just comfortably park their cars and take the train in the morning and get to that particular place. So there won't be population, there won't be an increased population in the shores of Abuja. People can just live a far but know that comfortably they can get to work at ease in the morning and say return back. So the roads will be empty, the government will still make money from the railways, and a lot of things will be resolved.
Wow. We pray, we really pray. And my prayer, because I don't know, our leaders, they do come to this place I am. You see these things, you can't take one home to like, okay, I've seen this system, the way it's working. Let me just take this one home and do it also in Nigeria. I pray they come and see and start you know,
I pray so. I
seeing
pray so.
good
And
things.
I pray so. And sadly, you see our people who are living abroad, probably in the UK, you can see a lot of our people managing some of these affairs. If you go to their railway, you see a lot of Nigerians making good inputs there. Why can't we bring those people down and make it work in Nigeria? I don't know why. We have so
That is
many.
because
So
maybe
you just
that is because your leaders, they have the resources to fly. They don't have to go through the traffic. They have the money for medical trips abroad. They have all the food and they live in mansions, beautiful houses, and so they don't really feel the plights of the people.
well, the more the poor citizens are finding it difficult. I don't know how long it will
For
take before
everybody,
people
that
will
is it.
begin.
The more unrest we
Yeah,
get in the society.
yes. I don't know how patient Nigerians can still remain,
So we
honestly.
take the last newspaper and we ran up the show this morning. That would be the sports. We're talking about the Punch Sport Extra. And the major headline here says time up again. Pesero snub Musa for Eagles friendlies against Saudi Mozambique. Portuguese coach Hans Dede Bashiru debut called up. That story is on page 7 of the Punch Sport Extra. As well, we have a story here that says Arsenal makes Phillips top target, and that story is on page 4 of the Punch Sport Extra. We have a story here that says Madrid plot Boniface summer move, and that story is on page 6 of the Punch Sport Extra. We have a story here as well that says Okocha backs Chukwueze to shine at Malin. That story is on page 6 of the Punch Sport Extra. We'll have a story here that says Mbappe yet to reach full fitness. That story is on page 8 of the Punch Sports Extra. These are some of the stories we have coming from the Punch Sport Extras. And then we'll have one here that says Devils seek redemption against Tooks. And that story is on page 3. Talking about we have another story here that says not very clear, but that is talking about Osimhen I-65 partner goal, and that is Napoli versus Madrid. These are all the stories we have coming from the Punch Sport Extra. Okay, there's a story here also that says Lens versus Arsenal, Gunners unbeaten, run under threat. That story is on page 3 of the Punch Sport Extra. Now, these are some of the stories we have coming from the Punch Sport Extra this morning. Now, what's your take on this? Let's take the major headline and then we'll wrap up. That says, time up. Again, Pesero snub Musa for Eagles friendlies against Saudi and Mozambique.
Well, Musa, I like Musa a lot. I think they should reconsider. Musa had done, and he has this spirit of uniting the team. He had played a lot of matches for Nigeria, and I think he will be good for the friendlies. Should be invited. Should play and support.
People say there's a little bit of politics going on in your Super Eagles. Do you share that opinion?
Yeah, that it has been on for a while. There's a lot of politics everywhere, honestly. Politics everywhere, honestly. That's I think that's the way we should look at Nigeria. Like, let's look at the results, not like a general result that works for Nigeria, not just for a particular person. If I have a tax, I shouldn't look at what is coming to me personally, the personal gains I'm going to gain from it, but let it be something that is going to work for Nigeria. Let's achieve result. Let's be goal oriented rather than looking at personal goals. Let's look at general goals.
Well, thank you so very much, Sani, for being on the Wake Up Nigeria show with me today. Of course, I had fun reviewing the papers with you. We hope to have you again next time. Thank you so much, viewers. I've been on the review with Mr. Sani Mohammed. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate your time, and we do
thank you very much for inviting me.
Our show community. Do you know, Sani? On a second thought, I want to believe that community. Maybe it's 9 years. I don't want to misquote the paper because 91 years is unheard of, but maybe it's 9 years. There's a mistake there. I don't know, but that 91 years, I still have goosebumps. I don't know.
Honestly, 91 years is a whole lot. I think maybe it's nine years. I think it should be 9 years.
Because
I think it should be 9 years.
Nigeria that will stay for 91 years without electricity.
Yeah, because Nigeria.
And all the while we had governors, we have a president, we have local government chairman, we have senators. So why that? So I want to believe. Anyway, congratulations to them. And thank you.
Yeah, I think 91 years is a whole lot. Nigeria is just 63 years, so I think it should be 9 years. But even if it's 9 years, it's worth celebrating. They should go ahead and celebrate. Celebrate.
Thank you so much, Sani. We'll have you again next time, and you have a very beautiful day ahead, Sani.
Yeah. Feel free to call me anytime. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yes, viewers, thank you so much for being on the review with me today. That's all we can take. And before I go, don't forget to hit on the notification bell. Follow us on our social media handles: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and X, and of course YouTube. Subscribe, hit on the notification bell, invite somebody to the page, drop your comments, leave us with your opinion. We love to hear from you. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning while you are out there. Remember that peace is priceless, so let's always give peace a chance, and also drive carefully, obey the traffic laws, and do well to be your brother's keeper today. I'll see you again on the show Wake Up Nigeria tomorrow. I remain yours truly, Princess Kessy. Bye for now.
Hooray! The next President Show is here again.
Everyone, my name is Hajara Osman Muhammad. I'm the Youth Governor for Kano State, Nigeria's Center of Commerce.
Pronounced Joel Garba, the Youth Executive Governor of Kaduna State, and I am contesting for the Youth Presidents of Nigeria under the People's Liberation Party, PLP.
Aged between 18 and 30, smart, bold, and possess exceptional leadership skills. Do you have what it takes to be the next youth governor and future youth president? Then register free now at superiorradioandtelevision.com or call the number on the screen. The Next President reality TV show, moving politics out of the polite drawing room into the clamor of the streets.
Sides to a story. Is there anything like good or bad? Do we have advantages or disadvantages? Is there a right or wrong? This is Crossfire on SRTV.